Once again, welcome to social science class. In this class, we are going to see about the next chapter of history. I request you, please pay attention and let's with me. Chapter number 6, New Questions and Ideas. In this chapter, we are going to see the following points. Point number 1, the story of Lord Buddha. After that, we will see Upanishads. After that, Jainism, the story of Lord Mahavira and monasteries. I request you, please pay attention to this presentation. First, the story of Buddha. Siddhartha, also known as Gautama, the founder of Buddhism, was born around the 2500 years ago. This was the time of rapid change in the lives of people, as you saw in the chapter number 5. Some kings in the Mahajanpadas were growing more and more powerful. New cities were developing and the life was changing in the village as well, which you are going to see in the chapter number 9. Many thinkers were trying to understand these changes in the society, and they also wanted to try and find out the truth meaning of the life. They wanted to know about the true meaning of the life. What is life? Next, the Buddha belonged to a small gana known as the gana and was a kshatriya. When he was a young man, he left the comfort of the home in search of the knowledge. Already you all peoples are knowing about the religion Buddhism, Jainism. In this chapter we are going to talk about Jainism and Buddhism. The founder of Buddhism, Lord Buddha, Gautama Buddha. The founder of Jainism, Lord Mahavira. These two peoples were the great and worship as a Lord, and worldwide the peoples are worshipping them. A wonder for a several year. Who is wondering? Lord Buddha. Meeting and holding discussion with other thinkers, he finally decided to find out his own path to realization and meditate for days and nights under a peepal tree at Bodh Gaya, Bihar, where he attended the enlightenment. In Bodh Gaya, the place is there under the peepal tree, Lord Buddha got enlightenment. After that, he was known as Buddha or the wise one. He then went to the Samath near Varanasi, where he taught for the first time. He spent the rest of life traveling on the foot, moving from one place to another and teaching the people till he passed away at Krishna. Dear children, please see, here the Lord Buddha was spreading the message. So in upcoming slide, we are going to see about what was the teaching of Lord Buddha. Next, the Buddha taught that the life is full of suffering and unhappiness. This is cause which have the carving and desire. Two things are there, carving and desire. Because of this only we are suffering from unhappiness and full of suffering. Sometimes even if we get what we want, we are not satisfied and want even more and more things. So the want and the desire to control, the main teaching of the Buddha was there. We are suffering, our life is full of suffering and unhappiness because our desires are uncontrollable. Every time we are having more and more desire. One fulfilled, then another will come, two will come, three will come, and the demands and desires will be more and more. The Buddha described this as the third thrust or dana. He taught that conscience carving could be removed by following what is in everything. Next, we are going to see about, he also taught the people to be kind. What Buddha is teaching to them? To respect the lives of others, including animals. That means he believed that the result of our action called karmas, whether good or bad, affect us both in the life and next. Children, please have a point your karmas as we are going to do, as we are going to catch it back, as we are going to sow, as we are going to read. One phrase is there. The Buddha taught in the language of ordinary people, that's a Prakrit. which the people can easily understand. What was the language used to compose the Veda? He also encouraged the people to think for themselves rather than to simplify, accept what he said. Let us see how he did this. Next, Upanishad. Upanishads, what are Upanishads? Around the time that the Buddha was preaching and perhaps a little early, other thinkers also tried to find the answer to difficult questions. Some of them wanted to know about the life after death, right? After that, the life after that. Other wanted to know why sacrifice could be performed, right? Many of these thinkers felt that there was something permanent in the universe that would last even after the death. They described this as a Atman, or the individual soul, as a Brahman, or universal soul. They believed that ultimately both of the Atman and the Brahmans were one. Right? Here the people are trying to search the knowledge what happened after the death and what is the universal soul. Lot many thinkings points were coming in the mind of the people at that time. Next, many of their ideas were recorded in Upanishads. These were the part of the later Vedic text. Upanishad literally means approaching and sitting near, and the text contained conversation between teachers and the student. Often ideas were present through a simple dialogue. Most Upanishadic thinkers were men, especially Brahmins and Raja. The two peoples were Upanishadic thinkers. Occasionally, there is mention of women's thinkers. So, women's thinkers were also there, such as the Grahi, who was famous for her learning and participating in debates held in royal court. Poor people rarely took part in this discussion. One famous expectation was Satyakarma and Jabali, who was named after his mother, the slave monk Jalaba. Okay, Jabali here and Jabala. Next, he had a deep desire to learn about reality, was accepted as a student by a Brahmin teacher named Gautama, and become one of the best known thinkers of that time. Many of these ideas were recorded in Upanishad and developed by the famous thinker Shankaracharya, which we are going to read in the chapter number 7. Next, we are going to see about the next religion, Jainism. So, who is the founder of Jainism? So, we are going to see Mahavira, the last and the 24th Tirthankara, right, of the Jainas. Vardhaman Mahavira was also spread his message around this time, and that was 2500 years ago. He was a kshatriya prince of the Lisbon, a group that was a part of Vajji Sangha. Already we have seen about a closer look to Vajji in the chapter number 5. At the age of 30, he left home and went to live in a forest. For 12 years, he led a hard and lonely life, at the end of which he attained enlightenment. So Lord Mahavira, after 12 years, he got enlightenment. Next, he taught a simple doctrine. Men and women who wish to know the truth must leave their homes. So here, in these two paragraphs, we are having the teachings of Mahavira. Right? At the last, we are going to discuss the question answer. In that, what were the teachings of Mahavira? In that, from this paragraph only, you have to extract the answer. Next, they must follow very strictly the rules of ahimsa. Ahimsa means to be not to hurt, not to harm to anyone, which means not hurting or killing living beings. All beings, said Mahavira, long to live. To all things, life is clear. So next, ordinary people could understand the teaching of Mahavira and his follower because they use Prakrit. So there was same. Buddha was also using Prakrit language and Mahavira was also using the Prakrit language, which was the ordinary language so that the people can understand the teaching. There were several forms of Prakrit used in the different parts of the country and named after the region in which they were used. For example, Prakrit spoken in Magda were known as Magdi. In Magda, Prakrit language is used, so in the local area, so it was called as Magdi. Next, followers of Mahavira, who were known as Jainas, had to lead a very simple life, begging for foods. They had to be absolutely honest and were especially asked not to steal. Also, they had to observe discipline. And men had to give up everything, including their clothes. It was very difficult for most of the men and women to follow these strict rules. Nevertheless, thousands left their homes to learn and teach this new way of the life, and many more remained behind and supported those who began monks and nuns and providing them with the foods. Next, Jainism was supported mainly by the traders. Farmers who had to kill insects to protect their crops found it more difficult to follow the rules. Over hundreds of the years, Jainism spread to their different parts of the North India, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. The teaching of Mahavira and his followers were transmitted orally for several centuries. They used to teach orally, right, for several centuries. Next, they were written down in the form in which they were presently available at a place called Vallabhi, right? Vallabhi is the place in Gujarat about 1500 years ago. In the map number 7 on page number 105, the page number may be vary. You can please rectify it on map number 7 from the same chapter. Next, the Sangha. Now we are going to see about what is Sangha, right? So in that we are going to see both the Mahavira and Buddha felt that only those who left their home could gain the true knowledge. They arranged for them to stay together in Sangha, an association of who left their home. Sangha means an association of those who left their homes. The rules made for Buddhist Sangha were written down in the book called Vinay Patika, right? Vinay Patika. In that the rules are written for Buddhism. From this we know that there were separate branches for men and women. All men could join the Sangha, however children had to take the permission of their parents and slave that of their master. Those who worked for the king had to take his permission and deposit the credits. Men and women, in that especially women had to take care of their husband's permission before joining the Sangha. Sangha was the place after leaving their home they should be there at the place. For that men were separated and women were separated. Next, men and women who joined the Sangha lead simple life. They meditate for the most of the time and went to the city and village to beg for the food during the fixed hour. That is why they were known as bhikshu and the females were known as bhikshunis. They taught other and helped one another. They also held a meeting to settle any quarrel that took place within the Sangha. Those who joined the Sangha included Brahman, Kshatriya, merchant, laborer, barber, courtesan and slave. Many of them wrote down the teaching of Buddha. Some of also composed beautiful poems describing their life in the Sangha. So the people who are writing poems, right, about their life, about the teaching of Buddha and all. Next, monasteries. To begin with, the both Jaina and Buddhist monks were went from place to place throughout the year, teaching people that only time to stay in a one place was during the rainy season, and that was the very difficult point. So they require a place to live at that time, so the monasteries were there. Then their supporter built temporary shelter for them in a garden, or they lived in a natural cave in a hilly area. As time went on, many supporters of the monks and nuns and they themselves felt need for more permanent shelter, so monasteries were built. So this is the monastery was the place where these people at the rainy season they used to reside at that place. These were known as viharas. The earliest vihara were made of wood and then of the brick. Next, some were even in caves that were dug out in the hills, especially in western India. Now we are going to see very often the land on which the viharas was built was donated by the rich peoples like merchants and the landlord or the king. And the local people came with a gift, food, clothing and medicines for the monks and the nuns. And in reply of that, the monks and the nuns used to teach them, preach them. Right? In return, they taught the people. Over the century, Buddhism spread to many parts of the subcontinent and beyond. You will learn more about in the chapter number 9 how the Buddhism spread in the all parts of the world. Right? Next. Now, in this chapter, we have seen about these two religions, Buddhism and Jainism, and Upanishadic thinkers. After that, we are going to see the question answers from this chapter. So please check out the question as well as the answer. Question number first. Please see the question number 1. Question number 1 speaking. Describe the ways in which the Buddha tried to spread his message to the people. So, finally we are going to see the same point which we discussed in this presentation. Right? I taken from the same presentation, from that same paragraph where Buddha's teaching is written in a paragraph. Buddha taught the people in Prakrit language, which was ordinary language of the people, so they can easily understand. Second, he also encouraged people to think for themselves rather to simply accept what he said. Next, Buddha himself set an example to lead a simple life. Gautama Buddha moved from place to place to preach the people. How he spreaded his message, it is given. You can write into point wise. Next, question number 2, true or false is here. So the answer of true or false is here. Let's see the question. First one, the Buddha encouraged an animal sacrifice? No. So that's the incorrect one. False. Second, Samath is an important place because it was the place where Buddha taught the first time. Yes, it's correct. Next, the Buddha taught that the karma has no effect on our life. False. The karmas are having effect on our life. False is there. The Buddha attained enlightenment at Bodh Gaya. Right. So that's the true. And Upanishadic thinkers believe that the Atma and the Brahman were ultimately one. Yes, it's true. So please take the right answer. Next, question number 2. What were the questions that Upanishadic thinkers wanted to answer? So, they wanted to know about life after that. From the textbook paragraph where the Upanishadic thinkers paragraph are there, from there only you can extract the answer. Some wanted to know why sacrifice should be performed. Next point, they felt there had to be something permanent in the universe that lasted even after death, and these ideas were recorded in Upanishads. Okay? Next, moving towards the question number 4. What were the main teachings of Mahavira? As I was teaching you from the slide presentation, I stated from this slide we are going to have one question. So this is that question. So please check out the answer. So this is the answer, right? You have to write the answer in this point twice. Please see the answer. You can write in a points like this only. He taught the simple doctrine. Men and women who wish to know the truth must leave their home. Point number 1, point number 2, point number 3, point number 4. like that. Okay. Lastly, I want to say thank you to each and everyone. Please watch the all videos, write your homework, take a photograph, send me on a WhatsApp, and please be prepared for this examination. Right? Thank you to each and everyone. Jai Hind.